Good evening. Well, for me, it's good evening. Um, I like today is 14th of February 2024. I would like to firstly wish everyone, whether you believe it or not, or just a normal day, happy Chinese New Year or happy Lunar New Year. Across Malaysia, Singapore, across Vietnam, Thailand, China, Taiwan, and probably South Korea, and across the world. Yeah, for those who are celebrating the Lunar New Year, this is so-called the New Year for the Chinese calendar, or more likely East Asian calendar. And also conjunction, today is also the commemorative day for Saint Valentine, so I would like to wish everyone happy Valentine's Day. If my partner in crime is watching, hi, happy Valentine's to you. And yeah, I've been celebrating lunar holiday with my family, and progressively supposed to be going to uh, going out most of my time, day and night, visiting families, my relatives, some of my relatives coming over, sometimes my parents who has been in the house for so long, taking out them to the walk when the city is a bit more quiet, easier to get around, that kind of much things. Just spending time, and also have a R&R for myself that I have missed for 2 years in my Lunar New Year. So today I'm gonna continue to record my archive of my collection. Nothing new at the moment. There's no new banknotes because it's a season of holiday, so there are no mailing or any kind of sort of things. And I try to keep within my budget to accumulate some of my budget to acquire something more high value. It cost me a lot of money, so it will be a challenge. But patience is a virtue, and if I really want it, I will have to save it a lot of money. Recently, just for the note, I've been recently going through people conducting their sales or deals in Whatnot. Whatnot is an American-based enterprise web page or app that allows dealers to conduct sales or auction of their product live telecast live telecast. And I've been a member. I've been participating, not selling, but as a buyer. But at the moment, I haven't bought anything. I still have my coupon of a reduction of $15 for any purchases, exclude tax and mail costs. Yeah, very interesting because since this is American based, a lot of the difficult or unique American banknotes, which I am trying to conceivably trying to commit to explore and to acquire it. I this year I tend not to collect anything on my local currency, because even my local currency here is vastly too expensive or vastly too uh, uh, manipulated, and it's a hyperinflated price. Excuse me. But I see Americans banknote, there are quite a lot of dynamics. I can't acquire any of the American banknotes or currencies in my country, in Malaysia, or in any Southeast Asia, even in Singapore. Couldn't get it. So it's vastly difficult to find American currency or banknotes or treasury notes, whatever note that is related to American old dysfunction or obsolete notes. The only way I could acquire is through online auction house, if they are, which is also quite rare. Another alternative which I found is through eBay or whatnot. So I give my shout out to whatnot for having established this and allow some degree for foreign buyers to purchase, to bid, and and able to export it out of the country, as you would like to put it, export, because since whatever purchases that I have to buy now coming into my country, Malaysia, is subject to import tax or duty tax, whatever it is. It's a 10% of the value of the product. So, but that is one of those bad things. Quite a mess. What a dirt. So just clean this place and it's already dirty. Okay, today my archive is going to be recording of my South Asia and Middle East continent. Region in Asia. It's still within Asian continent, but we'll be focusing on countries. My collection from South Asia, which is like comprised from India, the better regions of, we call it Hindustan, much easier, Hindustan, and Middle East countries like Jordan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, what kind of thing of my head, Yemen, and etc., which is currently a hotbed of oil exporter or a conflict zone. And of course, to me, maybe to most people out there, may not be so controversial, but I think now it's going to be very difficult to acquire Israel banknotes. I love Israel banknotes. They're actually quite beautiful, but I don't know whether I'm able to purchase it because my passport don't recognize Israel, because we don't recognize Israel as a country from my country. So we don't buy made in Israel products or anything from Israel. I don't know. Banknotes, maybe not. It's quite difficult. Probably you can get it in the black market or so forth, but I don't tend to go through such a route. I prefer to buy it legally outright in front of the open market, to be fair to everyone. So let's go through my collection. Oops. Alright, you can see there. Maybe I zoom out a little bit out of the perspective. Yep, there we go. Alright, here we go. So I'll try to do it as quick as possible, probably less than 45 minutes, rather than talk a lot, blah blah blah. But as for recording, I'll try to go through as fast as I can. Sadly, I'm quite talkative, so I'm not really can do this kind of SR kind of thing, just flipping pages quietly. Very difficult for me to do that because again, this recording is for personal use for me, in case I forget my collections of that period of the time or and so forth. At least I can go back to YouTube. There's a store for the archive, and I can recall what I have collected. Okay, first one of a country is we're gonna go through first is South Asia, so around the region of Hindustan. Then afterward, the second part would be Middle East, and so forth, from Iran all the way to probably to Israel, all the way from there. Yeah. And the next video probably I'll be focusing on Africa, my collection for Africa, which is quite a big bundle. Normally I catalog South Asia, Middle East, and Africa. I didn't expect to get a lot of varieties of African banknotes because they are very cheap to get. So I actually bought a lot of quantities for a low value banknotes. Of course, there are no high values. I could find a modern African banknotes. They are vastly very cheap and able to fill up a lot of my desire of quantity of banknotes, variety of banknotes to see, to collect, and to keep. So it's getting too much. I separated it to two different folders. So Africa is currently now as its own album, and hopefully it doesn't go into becoming Africa first volume and Africa second volume. Hopefully not, because right now a lot of the banknotes that is so-called cheap or able to acquire, I've already acquired. Most of it will become more expensive or cheap but difficult to acquire. Countries probably I don't have is for example, like Senegal, uh, Senegal, Equatorials, a Zambia. I only got the commemorative, but the normal banknotes are, most of my dealers don't have that. So yeah, they're supposed to be cheap, but they're difficult to get because they are not here. So again, if I really want it, I had to get it from online, which I had to pay 10% of the duty or import tax from eBay. I had to buy it from eBay, which is sadly I try not to do things because the more I do deals in online, clandestine by sellers might cheat or scam me. There's a chances are scam. I like to do face-to-face deal, so at least I can see the notes whether they're genuine or something not. Sometimes the dealer doesn't even know that it's genuine or not. That's one for dealer I met that I bought for Afghanistan banknote. One of it is actually printed like a normal banknote. Another one is printed from a Xerox. They are all pixels, dot and full of dots, like the printed colors. He even didn't realize that. Probably I understand because he has a lot of inventories to go through. He didn't have time. He just had to put it one stack on one side. So I helped him out and just told him that this is not real. This is a counterfeit. This is a photocopy from Xerox. And this is the original. This is the correct one, and so forth. So sometimes I do help the dealers in the shops, the shop owners there. But I can't do that in eBay. What you buy is buy, and when you receive, sometimes they write that condition no refunds, then you are dead in the water, which happens to be for me very very lucky. I consider myself very lucky. I can show it right now. I think I have the notes with me. Let me see where it is. Here it is. I bought this all from eBay. They're actually very thick paper, rubbish. They're all from far. From right now you see it looks very original, but when you zoom into those areas, especially like multiple color areas, they are all very very pixelated. You know, from my eye view like this, it looks very nice, and it does have the feel that is intelligio feel. But actually when you zoom into those areas, especially even the red ones all here, they are all actually pixelated. The serial number, the sign, they're all pixelated. They're not even stamped on. The numbers, the serial numbers, they're all printed pixelated. So these are all actually junk. But luckily this seller requires me to put a feedback or review on his eBay blog, on his eBay page. So I put a lot of negative on disappointment. I mean, what I get, what I see is what I review. Very simple. So he asked me to withdraw. So in the end, I asked him, give me my refund, including my not just purchase of this, but also the refund for my mail that I paid. Eventually, I get all my refunds. So I get back my money. So no harm done. And he doesn't want it back. Pretty much obviously because it's worthless. So yeah, this note, of course, this Central Bank of China 25 yuan is very expensive. It's very rare to get compared to the 5, 10, 50 probably a little bit more rare. After this, it's pretty uncommon to find 50 yuan, and then you have the 100, which are very common to find. 25 is extremely rare. Then the next one rare of this series is 50 yuan, as I previously have shown in my catalog archive for my Republic of China session. So this is fake, okay, counterfeit. I wouldn't even say contemporary counterfeit. At least if it's contemporary counterfeit, there is certain historical value towards it. That means there are people at that time with technology at those days try and attempt to counterfeit. And PMG or any third-party graders, they will actually recognize it as a contemporary counterfeit. So it has certain value. These are modern counterfeits. They are not even contemporary counterfeits. I don't mind if it's a contemporary counterfeit, but it is not. So again, modern technology created this, so it was nothing to me. Probably just a toilet paper. It just was toilet paper. But eventually I was very lucky that the seller from eBay able to get I can get my refund. So one first thing on the rule is, if the price seems to be very ridiculously low, like they started at $1 for the bidding, beware. They could, high chances are they are fake. Because why am I selling something so rare, okay, that is difficult to get, and they are selling it to me at $1, starting bid at $1? It doesn't make sense. So certain times you need to be more certain times you need to be more careful and think logically. Because when I see his webpage of the list of his selling, when he sell coins, especially the old China coins, which I don't collect, as far as I concerned at the moment, I don't collect coins. But when I saw the coins that they're selling, he's selling around starting price $300, $400, because he knows that it's genuine. And he's selling it at the beginning of the bidding price, starting at first bid around $300. He knew it was original and genuine, and this is not. And the description was a very shit description, to be honest. He has the audacity to write unable to certify whether it's original or not. If you ask a question to him, is it original or not, he's not able to answer it. That should be the alarm trigger that you know the answer. It is not genuine. But I took the chance because I only that time only need to pay only $3 US. $3 US, this probably about $5. So converted times 4, probably about less than 100 ringgit I spent on it, and plus the mail, probably 150 ringgit, and so less than that. But in the end, I got back all my money, including the mailing price and the bidding price. So, and that time there was no tax. This was zero tax. The tax was just very recent. So it was considered very lucky. This one cost $55, but when I look closely, it is flat. Don't know whether it is originally supposed to be flat. When I look carefully, this is not original, because not original. This one. This is the 20 yuan People's Republic of China first series, because the serial number color compared to the catalog books that I've seen is supposed to be red, and this is supposed to be light gray. If I'm not mistaken, it's not supposed to be brown. So even this, the color was wrong. Paper is very stiff, very flat. It's not currency paper. But anyway, I keep this for example, because this is, to me, is it's not contemporary forgery or contemporary counterfeit. It's a modern counterfeit, but I think the design and the engine using the counterfeit techniques is better than the other one. This is not pixelated. They are not pixelated, but they look like genuinely looks like what's the word, lacquered style, something lacquered. I forgot. Gouache is one. This one is a flat one. So I forgot what they call it. A lithograph, sorry. It's a lithograph printing system. It could be original, but when I see the color, they are not. So it confirms me that it is not original. But the technology they're using to attempt to counterfeit it makes it, worth special for me to keep. This one I bought it from someone long time ago. The man already disappeared, so I can't claim back my 55 ringgit. So it's a lost done deal. I remember I didn't pay 55. I think I paid about 35, asking for a discount price. But yeah, let's I'll talk about that. It's about a little brief offset from the counterfeit. Let's continue the one. My catalog. So this beginning is if I'm not mistaken, is Sri Lanka. This is a normal Sri Lanka common banknotes that you can find in Sri Lanka. They're using this banknotes. So I got this very cheap. And Sri Lanka currency, after they had the fiasco where their country is economic collapse, their rupee gone down very quickly, dramatically quick, and it became, of course, worthless. But anyway, I got a good one condition I kept as my collection, whatever I can find. So it's not a full set yet, and I know intention at the moment to search for it unless somebody give to me, or I found something in the bin that is in the junk pile, or probably like that. Okay, if it recalls me, I'll get it. So I got 20, 50, 100. They actually go up to, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 or 5,000 rupees. So I got 500 also. The back representing musicians, their culture. So basically, this is a design based on the identity of culture of Sri Lanka. This series represents that. In the front, it's supposed to represent the modernity of their society, the advancement in technology, trade, and so etc. So this one they put it in the front. I think here, starting at 100, they're trying to put Mother Nature. And the kind of system, of course, the varieties of birds, different type of birds are found in Sri Lanka. So there are many ways that how they tell the story. I try to using banknotes or currency to represent or selling their identity of their country to tourists, to people, and a little bit of dash of nationalism, I would say, or patriotism. Yeah, something like that. So I only got 20, 50, 100, and 500 rupee for Sri Lanka. Pakistan, I have the two. This is two quite new banknote. These two are 75 rupee. It represents. This one is actually commemorative. 75 years of the country's independence. They issued this note, and this one is 75 years the State Bank of Pakistan has established. The State Bank of Pakistan has established for 75 years, and they issued this specific banknote. Again, they're not difficult to get. Many of these notes are in the pile of junk. Of course, probably the AAA, the first prefix, may be very difficult to find, but actually it's also may be difficult to find for certain areas. But when I look at it, I can find this note quite easily, and they're selling at less than 10 ringgit, or probably around $2 to $3. It's not really expensive, so it's a very cheap acquired banknote, and it's a commemorative banknote. They only issue on that year for this one. This was last year issuance. Again, I bought it for this one is quite more significantly more expensive than this one, because this is AAA. This is single A. They have a limited number of issuance for this one compared to this one. AAA means they have AAA, then AAAB, AAC, and etc. until the alphabet goes on, and the numbers are quite large numbers. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers, so it can go up to 9 million probably. I don't know. I didn't study about banknotes for Pakistan, but in the end, I knew this is only one prefix. This is a limited, because there cannot be 3 times the number of this one. So I got this one for 35 ringgit. This one probably around 10 ringgit. So this is more cheap. This is much easier to get than this one. Both represent the denomination of 75 rupee, Pakistan rupee. So at the back, again, this one in Sri Lanka is the dance musicians. Behind here, the 75 years of independence of the Pakistan state. They try to represent the Himalaya at the Kashmir. And of course, today there's the high conflict between India and also China regarding on Kashmir region. Who will acquire Kashmir? Where's the boundary of the Kashmir? We don't know. It's still an active conflict. Probably in my lifetime, the conflict will not resolve. It will be very peaceful unless one prefer to go to war. To resolve this permanently, I think it's a little bit more political on this matter. Is they have to go to war. Somebody has to win the war to have the outright conquest. Because diplomacy has been running for 50-60 years, is not materializing it. The same goes to Israel conflict with Pakistan. So the question of the existing state of Israel, the recognition of Israel and the Palestine, I don't think it can resolve diplomatically. Especially currently, it cannot run in a way that that both sides can sit down, diplomatically talk and negotiate diplomatically to resolve this matter and peace and prosperity happens. No, I think whatever is such a prime and historical prominent of a region like Israel, Jerusalem, I don't think it's about the land issue. Seriously, it is somewhat for me that the people will say land, because currently a lot of what the Israeli is trying to do to Palestine is to push them out of away from Israel land, so that they can acquire Palestine land and annex Palestine land to become Israel land, without having Palestine living in that land. I think today is the hidden agenda that is what Israel is trying to do. They are able to bolster to do such a way because they got the backings of great powers like United States of America, which is the largest Jewish community in the world after the Second World War. They got the backing from Canada and most of the NATO's, the Western countries. So, and Palestine and has only have friends from the East, from Russia, or from all the Muslim majority countries. Like my country, myself, we recognize Palestine, but we do not recognize Israel. Indonesia, same vice versa. Some countries who are considered Western civilized, Western centric people may have difficulty to accept Palestine. So they shifted more towards Israel, and so giving support to Israel. So we have that kind of dynamic. Unless one of the great superpowers support Palestine, probably will be the best way that will hold Israel from furthering committing such so-called crimes. I don't want to accuse. I don't support Palestine. I don't support Israel, because this affair has been running for over 60 long years and yet to resolve. It tells me that none of them or any both sides are going to sit down and talk or sit down to resolve the issue. They're blaming one side or another. It's basically a very primitive conflict. It's a very basic conflict issue. Number one, the land is very holy. It has prominence for Muslims. It has prominence for Israeli Jews. It has prominence for Christians. So the land is very, very valuable in a sense of religious matters. That is my opinion. But of course, being a Malaysian, I see the current state. The weak ones are the Palestine, and the strong one is Israel. Being a strong man shouldn't bully the little or weak people or country. And to me, I think in my opinion, the big power should offer the olive branch, should be the first to issue a peace without condition. That is called compassion. Not waiting for the weak to surrender. And I believe in that sense that the only way the conflict can actually turn around quickly is when Israel genuinely open arms and open hand, provide humanitarian to the Palestine without any condition, to assist Palestine to be developed and progressively developed, modernized. And of course, by doing this, by the sideline, you win the hearts of the citizens of the Palestine. The problem is the Palestine, in my guts of what I see, they are in desperate. If they can't rely on big powers like America or Israel to assist to calm the situation, who would? The terrorist organization is the last hope for them, because that is the only option they can support. Now, Israel say that you should not support that, and you should get out of Gaza Strip and all that, so that for your safety. I think that is quite ridiculous, because that is a hidden agenda. To me, it's a hidden agenda to expel all the Palestine using such medium. The conflict in Middle East is one of the big issues that I think that a lot of my colleagues and so forth, they support 100% with Palestine blindly, I would say, without any reasoning, just because they are Muslim. I find that a bit ignorant. That is why I don't support Palestine. I don't support Israel. But what I do support for Palestine, in a degree towards Palestine, is the humanitarian efforts they need. They are already down. They are not equipped to go to war against Israel. Israel has economic benefits. Its citizens are able to live peacefully and able to develop the country more further on, not Palestine. So I think the best way currently, the trigger of the event to become much more better, is when Israel offers olive branch to Palestine unconditionally for humanitarian effort, and eventually assist Palestine in developing their country, in return, firstly, to recognize Israel's existence. Now, I'm not talking about existence is one thing, but existing land is another problem. The Yom Kippur War was the big event when Israel conquered many of the land by conquest. That is the claim. They don't recognize the dispute that the UN has resolution on the dispute lands of the so-called borders between the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. So this is another matter. But the most important thing, the existing of Israel state, no matter how big or small, Palestine needs to engage in recognizing it. And in return, Israel should not fight against Palestine, but assist Palestine. If you want to go even further, the whole entire state of Palestine and Israel should unite together and become one singular state. But that is a very far pipeline dream, because the obstacle is always will be not because of land, not because of economy, it's because of religion. Religion will always be the needle or the wedge that split between these two different states. In the end, it's about religion. Now, that's a side note that I want to express, because a lot of people is being heightened to talk about this in 2024 and the late 2023. So I want to put that as a record of my opinion. I don't support Israel, but I support Palestine humanitarian efforts. They need efforts of humanitarian. And also, I also support the people there not to get out of Gaza, because that is one of the tricks that Israel will play, okay, to push the Palestinians out, and they are not allowed to return to their homes. This is not new. It happened before. It has happened before, and they have a lot of so-called Palestine refugees living in Jordan and as Egypt were not allowed to return home for more than 50 years, half a century, since the Yom Kippur War. So they're using the Israeli is using the same trick. So I really don't want to dwell this too much, but whatever it is at the moment, I don't really have a full stand on any side, nor Palestine nor Israel, but I have compassion for Palestine. The weak one, I would have more compassion that they need help, and Israel should stop killing Palestine. Being strong and have power comes with great responsibility, not to one's nation, but to the world. And I see Israel is not learning that lesson. And what I could see, Israel is repeating the same thing that have happened to them, because that is what they have experienced. What the Nazi has done to them probably is that they're using the same tool and tricks what the Nazi have done to them. It works when Germany tried to kill the Jewish. Probably it will work in their favor too if they apply the same method. Probably. But I'm not accusing it, because I got no proof. So I will not put any claim that is an assault to Israel. So I want Israel to actually stop hitting or killing Palestine, and I want Palestine to have a pause moment, to live in peace, to get back up their lives, have their children have food in their belly, have the education, and that is the important part. Okay, that's another thing, story. Yeah. So again, for Pakistan notes, I only got two Pakistan notes on this matter. The next one, this one is actually Bangladesh, 10 taka. This one is 10 rupiah. From what was that? Nepal, polymer. So this is actually quite new. Actually, it's polymer banknote. This is Bhutan. I think this is called one Nungtrum, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about if I pronounce it wrongly. Probably it's Nungrum. And then this one is also from Bhutan. This is the older version of Nungrum. This is the new version of Nungrum, which is the smaller size. What I like about Bhutan is the motif design is traditional. It's very only done by in Bhutan. Because I never seen any country done such a beautiful motif other than the Arab countries, which is the Arabic more centric Islamic motifs. This is more Buddhist motifs. I mean, the flying dragons, similarity to Buddhism's fate design. So it is very beautiful. We have dragons, and this one is, if I'm not mistaken, is phoenix. This is 1 Nungrum, 2 Nungrum, 5 Nungrum. Yep. 1 Nungrum, 2 Nungrum, 3 Nungrum. Behind this one, if I'm not mistaken, this is the palace or the bank. It's called Paradzong. There are names of it, so the buildings are different, but they look similar. This one is also in Bhutan, the current king. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. This one is the modern one. After from this, they converted to this one. So again, these notes are all very cheap to get, and they are inexpensive. That's why I have quite a number of varieties, because they're very cheap. This one probably expensive. This one is very hard to find. Now I paid for 10 ringgit for this one, for 10 Nungrums. This one probably 5 ringgit less. Again, this is the 10 Nungrum. This is the old one. This is the new one. 20 and 50. They have 100, 500, and 1,000. Those are the higher the denomination, the more expensive it is, and very hard to get. I've seen the 1000 Nungrup. They are very beautiful. It's almost yellow goldish color on the banknote, but it's very beautiful. Okay. Always represents the building behind. Quite significant. Next country is Jordan. Jordan, how I get to know Jordan is because my sister have traveled there and visited Jordan. And some of the banknotes that she used over there came back given to me as a gift, a collection, a souvenir. Nothing much, but yeah, I got that, and it triggers me to, since I already got a Jordanian dinar, why not I start collecting Jordanian dinar, which became a hellhole for me to collect because the older ones are super rare and super expensive, and knowing it, their currency denomination is worse and much more expensive than the USD. Currently, USD is like $4. This one is probably around, $1 is equal to 4 ringgit and 70 cent. Jordanian dollars is probably around 6 or 7 ringgit for one Jordan dinar. So they are actually more expensive than the US dollar, even at the forex exchange. So getting a Jordanian dinar is going to be a challenge, especially financially. So these are much older version ones, and one thing I like is this one dinar depicting the mosque at Israel. It's not even in Jordan. If I'm not mistaken, this is called the Dome of Rock at Jerusalem. This mosque is very important to the Muslims because this is where Prophet Muhammad is sent to heaven from this location. So it became an important, significant to the Muslims. And of course, where this is sitting on, the Dome of Rock is sitting on, is where the temple of the Jewish temple, if I'm not mistaken, the Temple of David. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not trying to be ignorant on this, but it's also on the same location before it was destroyed and burned down and looted by the Romans. So it's pretty awkward when you have your country representing a mosque or a building or an identity of a land that is not in Jordan. Very, very awkward, in my view. It should not, but it plays a significant role because it's the religious matter. Again, Arabs play religious matter very, very deep in their hearts and soul. So reflection comes from religious affair. And we come to the modern notes. As you can see, this is the older version of 1 dinar. This is the new one. New one cost me about almost like cost me about 30 ringgit for getting an unsecured first prefix AA. This one, the older version, cost me about 28, but I got it 25 for a good deal. This one is the 5 dinar. I got this one for probably about 45 to 50. About 45 or 50. But beyond that, I couldn't acquire 10 dinar. I couldn't acquire 20, 50, and 100 because they're too damn expensive. But the modern Jordan banknotes is actually very beautiful. I like this one. This one is representing the Petra, the building in Petra. I think if we call it the treasury. We call it the treasury. It's written here. I like this architecture motif. Being an architect, I love seeing cultural buildings full of motif and ornaments. So that's it I have from that side of Jordan. Then I have Afghanistan. This one is old Afghanistan. I didn't have the modern ones because basically nobody wants to collect Afghanistan's banknotes. other than the older ones when they are during the monarchy in Afghanistan, when they have the king of Afghanistan. Those are much more difficult and rare to find. But after that, is no like after this during the Taliban rule and so forth. Those banknotes are very highly inflated, uh, uh, highly inflated currency because of the economic downturn and so forth. The currency denomination getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're quite worthless. If I look at the purchasing power, I think Afghanistan stand at the lowest of all the countries of the currency, other than Iraq, Iran, and North Korea. But nevertheless, I had to collect a set. I bought a set collection for Afghanistan, so at least I have a complete set from one Afghanis to almost 10,000 Afghanis, to 10,000 Afghanis. So yeah, it's complete set. But this is before the Taliban came in, so these banknotes were much more older. I think, if I'm not mistaken, these are all printed. Yeah, I didn't write in English because Afghanistan don't have much English speaking people, and they know they are not tourist or business centric, so a lot of it is written in Arabic. If I'm not mistaken, it's written in Arabic, or they are writing in Farsi. Whatever it is, I don't know. I call it Afghanistan language for now. Next one is the Saudi Arabia, the most powerful country in Middle East, I would say. They manipulate a lot, influence a lot, and of course they are the so-called the protector, especially the House of Saud, the monarchs family. They are the protector of Mecca, the holy site for Muslims. For every Muslim, that is the holy site. They pray to Mecca. You see Muslims having a prayers. The direction they bow and pray towards is Mecca. No matter where they are operating the direction of Mecca. So the King of Saud, the House of Saud, they are the protectors for. Yeah, there's fireworks outside at the moment because they're celebrating Chinese New Year here. So yeah, so I have few of them because being that my sister has visited Saudi Arabia, have few some of the banknotes. You see, that's why they are all very dirty and so worn off. That's because my is actually used, and then my sister just passed it to me. This one, of course, is in use. This is more modern banknotes in Saudi Arabia. This is celebrate the G20s. Basically, is the Saudi Arabia's year 2020's vision of their development. This is a celebrate also commemorative banknote. This one is to celebrate the 100 years of the Kingdom of Saudis established. This is to celebrate the G20 meeting of the country or the world countries coming together for a conference. This is just a regular 5 riyals. Okay. Now this one is commemorative. There are two sets. One is 220. The other one is 200. The 200 obviously is very expensive, so I'm able to get the 21, which is cost me about 120 ringgit. I don't say this, but yeah, it's a commemorative banknote, and of course it's discontinued. Next one is one of my very favorite one, UAE, United Arab Emirates banknotes. The older banknotes and the modern banknotes, they are almost the same size. Their wordings are quite modern, Arabic. But one thing I like among all the banknotes, the serial numbers were written in more uniquely. But UAE, most of their serial numbers, they use the font type for the serial number, the same as the check, the digital like the old days, the analog computer print the numbers on the check or any balance sheet. It's the same font. And believe it or not, I believe they're still using the same font for the new one. We can see later. Maybe I'm not right. I may not be right. But let's the next page is the modern, newer notes, the current issue of notes they're using in UAE. But even at the time, in the old days, I like it because it gives a sense of money. It gives a sense of money feel. If I will use my own word, money feel. It feels like check. No word is, it feels like a checkbook. I feel that it's taking out like checks and giving out like checks. That is what I feel when using this kind of number fonts on the banknotes. So I have 5, I have 10 and 20 dirhams. This one is the newer one. This is what now UAE is. As if you can look at the serial number, they still use the same font. This is the only country that uses this kind of font for their serial numbers, for the Arabic numerical. They still use this kind of font. It's like a checkbook, kind of like a checkbook for computer to recognize what are the numbers. So I really like it. It makes it look like a checkbook kind of feel. These are the current notes. So we'll call the new one. This is 5. This is 10 dirhams. This is 50 dirhams. Having the country's logo like this is very nice. Actually, among all the polymer banknotes, I think the UAE hit the spot as very elegant. It's not beautiful, but elegant. The way they design it looks very simplistic. The gradient of the colors, from the light green to the dark green, is very simplistic, but yet rich. And to me, it makes it feel really looks like a money. A polymer money should look something like this, rather than too many graphic designs. So I think what they have done in their design is a striking pass for me. This is how it looks like in the front. At the reverse side, they represent the buildings that they have in their country. And of course, the front part will be written in Arabic word. At the back will be for English, so that you have two languages. So that being a business-centric countries and tourism country, they really do need English on their banknotes so that people can understand it. So that's why they struck. Compared to Afghanistan, they don't need that much. So economic and social. Economy of the people coming in and out of the country is quite important and vital. What to determine on the banknotes, what language they want to put in their banknotes. That's one reason that I find in my study. This is the current king, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I only have until 50 dirhams. So they're missing right now is 100 dirhams. They're missing the 1,000 dirhams. 1,000 dirham was issued early last year, 2023, and recently they just released the 100 dirhams. Of course, the 1,000 dirhams is very expensive. I wanted to try and get uncirculated, but that probably will cost me more than the forex exchange value, because currently 1,000 dirhams is virtually around 1,200 ringgit. If I want to get it uncirculated, probably have to pay 2,400. It's double. That's insane. Unless somebody or my friend are able to go there, get a newer notes over there, regardless what is the serial number, come back to me, and I give him exactly the forex exchange, then I stand to believe that I get a good deal. Of course, the other one is 100, so 100 is probably 120 ringgit or 100 dirhams. So yeah, I'm just missing that 2 notes for this polymer series, which is the current series they have. Next banknote, I only have 2. Is just a humble and the most expensive banknote in the world. The highest, the strongest currency in the world is Kuwait. Now, Kuwait's newer notes are more expensive, but the older notes are much cheaper. before they discover oil, most of the countries are most of the currency is very cheap. So even in the collection, they're quite cheap. But those after discovering the oils, a lot of it is very expensive. And if I'm not mistaken, in Kuwait, the largest denomination, if I'm not mistaken, is 20. If I'm not mistaken, is 20. What is it? 20 dinar. This is half dinar. This is a quarter dinar. So I'm missing 1 dinar, 5 dinar, 10 dinar, and 20 dinar. Those are already ridiculous price because 1 dinar is equivalent to about 16 to 17 ringgit. Okay, that's 17 times more value. So getting these two notes is already fairly difficult and very expensive. Alright, half a dinar is this one is already about. This is about around 8 ringgit. This is about 4 or 5 ringgit. Of course, getting uncirculated is more expensive. I got this for 10 ringgit. This one I got for 25, if I'm not mistaken. So I only can currently afford to get 2 Kuwait notes only, half a dinar and a quarter dinar. This one outwardly is very rare to get. I only got 1 denomination, which is Yemen. This is a Yemen currency, which is a new one as a first prefix A, but I already run 31 times already on A. So at the back, as you can see, is nature, culture is for Kuwait. And Yemen, they use their landscape as their design. The next one is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Qatar. This is a 1 Qatar. I love this, the older version of Qatar banknotes. The motif design really strikes out, really makes it beautiful. But of course, I don't know how to read Arabic when you have so much motif. People could mistakenly read, but I think they won't if they see it so many times. But again, the design motif is very beautiful. It has the country's national emblem on it, here and here, and here and here. The national anthem, national emblem, the country's emblem, not the flag, but the emblem. The back represents the birds, the sail. They're actually navigators, if I'm not mistaken. They are a small country surrounded by ocean, by sea. Then this one is the modern. After this, they have the modern banknotes. The modern banknotes looks much more geometrical, more modern. More modern, yeah. I able to collect the nice numbers like 2, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 6, 4, 2, 7, 7, 7, etc, etc. But to me, I'm just collecting this because I'm able to acquire it. So yeah, that's my Qatar banknote. That's it from Qatar. Now the 10 was a bit more hard to get uncirculated because a lot of the people from China actually acquire this, and many people acquire because this is this football stadium, which is run by the FIFA World Cup previously, last year or last 2 years, I forgot already. But this building is made by the Chinese, built by the Chinese contractors and the developer. So in China, a lot of the people actually know that, and in the inception of the World Cup, a lot of Chinese people collect this $10. So this is actually very hard to get for uncirculated ones. They're quite much more high value. So give it some time, it could raise some value added. The next one is Oman. I don't know why, but Oman's banknotes just that I need to progressively collect. A lot of the dealers here have Oman's banknotes, so I bought them a lot. Some of them entice me to go online to buy, but in the end, I think it is worth the money to collect Oman's banknotes. Not rare, it's not so difficult to find, but yeah, but the higher denomination ones are much difficult. That's why I go to the auction house to acquire it. But of course, the value of it, I got it, is very fair price, about 100 ringgit and so. But being uncirculated, I think is worth the money. This is a much more modern Oman dollar. So this is 100 baisal, 1 real, half a real. That's one. There are 100 baisal, 200 baisal, a quarter real, a half a real, and 1 real. Beyond than that is very difficult. After 1 real, it's very difficult to get this band, especially like these two. This two is like 1 real and 5 real, 10, 20, and 50 real. They are very difficult to acquire, and I have no chance on acquiring that because they're quite expensive. This is a commemorative banknote, 1 real. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 35th National Day, so the commemorative of the independence from, if I'm not mistaken, from the British. This is a modern current banknote they're using for 100 baisal and half a real. I don't have the 200 actually, so yeah. Next, I think this would be my second last country, is Iran. Again, Iran, I would particularly say not so difficult to get. They are quite easy to find, but of course, if you're living in the United States, certain currencies like North Korea won, Russians, Iran's rial banknotes may not be able to go to the United States, okay, because they are at the list of the so-called evil nations list, the enemy of the United States, whatever it is. But anyway, being in Malaysia, any Islamic countries are welcome. So although they are Shia and Malaysia is actually majority are Sunni, I mean in the religion, inside Islam, in Islamic world, there are two largest factions. One is the Shia, and one is the Sunni. I don't want to explain about that because very sensitive issue. So you can find that in the other YouTubers telling they conduct their study or research. What are the difference between Shia and Sunni? I know because I read it. So being this country is actually a Shia majority Muslim country, communicating with a Sunni majority Muslim country like Malaysia is a bit difficult also. It's a bit challenging, but not exactly an enemy like Israel. Now the banknotes in Iran, they are considered worth the second weakest currency in the world. Probably I miss out Somalia, but Somalia I believe they are much more strong. The currency much more stronger than Iran, but Iran is definitely one of the weakest currencies, and together with Iraq, and also Afghanistan. So the currency are worth actually very rock bottom price. This, like for example, like this one. This is a 2,000 rial. This 2,000 rial in currency in Malaysia is worth probably only 10 cent, or at least 2 cent US dollar. 2 cent US dollar. They're worth virtually nothing. They are very easy to get, but of course, being a collector and having uncirculated, you might need to pay a lot of money. If you compare to other currency, I think Iran, you make a earning the largest. If you're a dealer selling Iran banknotes to collectors, I think you make a lot of money. This worth only about 10 cent of Malaysia ringgit. You're selling me at 5 ringgit. Imagine how many percentage of profit they made from me. And even though they can give me discount, which they did, they gave me to 3 ringgit discount. From 10 cent to 3 ringgit, that's a lot of money being made. The profit margin is so damn huge. Again, this one, it's not even reaching 1 ringgit, and still they're being charged me 5 ringgit. I'm not complaining because this currency getting clean and uncirculated is very. Also, how do you acquire it? You're not going to that country, right? Or holiday. So going to dealer, you pay the price for the dealer, you pay the charges for their import tax, their so-called parcel costing, or the package delivery cost, So you are paying that rather than the value of the banknote. So yeah, they have quite a variety of banknotes. This one, if I'm not mistaken, the 10,000, sorry, 20,000 rial. This is a bit controversial. This is a newer one. Now, the figurehead on all the Iran's modern banknotes is the Ayatollah Khomeini, a supreme religious person in charge of the country. Of course, this one passed away. Now we have the second generation, who is appointed as a Ayatollah. So, one of the most important when you're playing a personality of cult for Iran, his face can never smile. You see any posters across the world, you see any diplomatic videos when he is attempting to shake hands with world leaders and so forth, you will never see him smile. Ever. His face is always stagnant and still, emotionless or anger. He does not have smile. That is a subject of his power, exerting his political power or his media power to propagate into his citizens. A man which is strong, who sacrificed for his country, for the grace of God, and so a lot of his images that he's being portrayed never smile. The older version of the 20,000 riyal, with a figurehead much bigger one, a larger figurehead, we call it the big head, and this is a smaller head. The modern one is smaller head. The newer one, the new one is smaller head. The bigger one is the older version. That one issued, I think, only one time. I think it's quite running for 1 year, less than 1 year. That portray him a smile, not a very big smile actually. It looks like he's smiling, a slight smile, kind of thing. And when the longer you look at that particular banknote of him, the more you realize he is like smiling, without the teeth, of course. And so I think the government at that time, they removed that banknote and they replaced it with this one, with the smaller portrait one. And then all his banknotes you see, he will never smile. The Ayatollah Khomeini never smiles, wherever he goes, wherever he is, when he was alive. And that one particular banknote looks like he's smiling, but actually it's not, but it looks like it. The longer you look at it, the more you look at it, is obviously he looks like he's smiling. And that's why they decided to remove that banknote and replace it with this one. I couldn't find that one, but I've seen a lot of images. Actually, I see it myself before in a very rare condition. That's why I see it. The more longer I look at it, the more it looks like he's smiling. Okay. After this, this is 10,000. This is the new one. This is the older version. This is a new series. Then they had another new series. Okay, this is 10,000. This is the previous series. 50,000 riyal, 10,000 riyal, and then this is the current currency design and current use. Modern, based from this one, they have converted into this. From this, they converted into this one. Similar design, but there are a few things they have modified and changed. Of course, the banknote size is bigger, but you notice that here is written 10,000, here is written 111. What's the purpose? Of course, before Iran uses riyal, during 100 years ago, their currency will use tuman. So, knowing that their currency right now, Iranian riyal, is actually very weak, they are attempting to revalue their currency. They try to revamp their currency to revalue it. So they're trying to change from 10,000 riyal into 1 tuman. They are trying to attempt to use back the older currency name, rather than riyal, which is similar to what Saudi Arabia is using, riyal. They want to use the ancient or the old currency they use since, I think, believe me or not, is used since during the Persian times, is Tuman. So they're referring back to their old original culture, which is the Persian culture. So Tuman was attempted to be reintroduced. And if you go to Iran, they will have two currencies. One is Riyal and the other one is Tuman. So like this is considered 10,000 Riyal is equivalent to 1 Tuman. Here is 2 Tuman, 20,000 Riyal, 5 Tuman for 50,000 Riyal, 10 Tuman for 10,000 Riyal. As you can see, the back of the zeros is light color and the front is highlighted in dark color. This represents 10. That's how to indicate the two different currencies. If I heard a lot of tourists goes to Iran, find it a bit difficult because some of them use a system of Tuman and some they're using Riyal. So the government in Iran, when they produce the new banknotes such as these, they have to print a banknote to have that two different currencies, Tumans and Riyal. At this point in time, they're still using this kind of system. There is no announcement when are they going to fully revamp into Tuman. At the moment, there's no position or anything there. The only position stand they have now is like this. There will be two currencies. Okay, two currencies. Two types of currencies. One is Tuman and one is Riyal. And speaking of design, I think these designs were more elegant for Iranian standard. The design is much beautiful. Of course, being an Islamic republic, few restrictions they have to apply. They cannot have animals or human beings other than Khomeini. The Ayatollah Khomeini, is permitted to be there. And all of his images, as usual, he doesn't smile. Has a stern look at you like a sharp eye kind of thing. So yeah. And behind is a inscription of the architectural achievement, modern architecture. They use buildings because that is the only thing that they think is possible to be used as a motif. They can use floral faunas, but they cannot use human being other than the Ayatollah. That's it. Now, these are all the common banknote circulation in Iran. These one, however, are considered bank check. Now, being the weakest currency in the world, meaning that a lot of the items they need to buy and sell goods will be not comfortable using 100,000 Riyal or 10 Tuman. Virtually, they have to use a higher denomination in their in exchange. So they came out with this bank check. Again, bank check. Look at this number. Same motive as what the UAE has done, But UAE used it as officially for a common currency. This is still considered as bank check. It's very difficult to acquire in Iran because of high denomination, and normally it's used to purchase for something high higher value. This is to buy all your daily items and paying your bill. So these are all considered as a common banknote. These are really banknotes. These are not banknotes. These are all current bank checks, but they have been designed and treated like banknotes. So as you can see, their numbers and serial numbers are vastly different from what the normal bank would use. This is for 500,000 Riyal. This is 500,000 Riyal. If I'm not mistaken, this is 52 months. Yep. This is for represent 52 months. There, as you can see, 50 here is representing 52 months. Then they have a higher denomination. Then they have a change of design of the bank check. They use this one, 500,000 Riyal, which represent 50 Tuman. And then you have the 1 million Riyal representing 100 Tuman. Now when it comes to 100, the denomination is practically most value. But of course, again, being Iran is rarely used, I got this one for about 50 ringgit. And still relatively cheap for their big denomination. The Iran check, as you can read here, the Central Bank of Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran check for 500,000 riyal or 52 months. This one is 500,000 riyal, 52 months. This is 1 million for 102 months. These designs were much more plain, more simple, but since it's called Iran check, it's not banknote, I can consider it okay. These are the newer versions of the banknotes for Iran. Again, 102 months, 202 months, or 2 million for 1 million riyal, 2 million riyal, and this one is 500,000 riyal or 52 months. These are more newer versions, which is they're using currently. And then we have another one that's 100 riyal, and then another one. There's a transition. They use the 1 million riyal. Sorry, 1 million riyal. They actually changed using the building to more Islamic building representation. There was an argument that they actually, a lot of citizens don't like this one. Then they changed this one. At least it's a mosque, it's an Islamic Republic, so fine. This was represented during the Persian times of the architecture, so a lot of it still yet to feel comfortable using such non-Islamic architecture buildings. So there was a rumor saying that that's why they changed from this to this. These two banknotes are almost the same period of time, and they actually changed. Design wise, there are not many changes, just they changed the building into a newer one, and the strip, security strip, they move it out to the side here, so at least you can see the building much more nicer and clean. Alright, that is all for Iran. And of course, behind the building, it represents their oil refinery, being the oil producing country, which they are trade embargoes from them, but they are actually still selling to China. The biggest exporter is China and Japan, which is the sole countries that relies on oil imports. After that, I have Syria. Now Syria, I actually collected this series much more comfortable because I like it, because it is the closest thing to what I can hold that feels like Rome. If Rome was still exist or still running the show, the Romans would have such banknotes like this. The architecture behind of the Roman architecture and so forth. I think this is very beautiful. It's the closest thing that I can feel Roman in such a way and manner. But yeah, this is Syria's old banknote. Their currency was pound because they were controlled and governed by the British. Then we have the normal modern banknotes, which is vastly easy to acquire. 50 pound, 100 pound, if I'm not mistaken, this is 200 pound, 500 pound, 1000 pound. Now, from 50 to 1000 pound, I could say they are very easy to get. They are vastly very cheap. But when it comes to 2,000 pound and the 5,000 pound, those are much more difficult to acquire because probably because they are limited to export. The government don't allow the export or whatever, because the currency has a high denomination value. They don't allow the export. Now, I actually have acquired two of those banknotes, the 2,000 and the 5,000. The 2,000, I'm still waiting for it to come into the country. It has not arrived yet, so be patient. It will be in a new video capture on that one. So I will show, probably I can show you is the 5,000 one, which I have. This is the 5,000 pound Syria. It looks much more simple. The theme, it looks like the theme of the front is like patriotism. And then for the banknotes for the 2,000 one, it represents the leadership, which is also al-Assad, the Assad. The Assad. There's a portrait of him on the banknote, and he's still alive. It differs what the norms of a banknote should be. Like in America, for the currency or banknotes, there is an enactment of law that you cannot use a you cannot portray a person's portrait on a banknote if he is still alive. That is a law. So you can't have Obama, you can't have Trump, you can't have Biden portrait, or even you can't have more recently you cannot have the, the oldest person still alive as a former president of the United States is Jimmy Carter. You can't have Jimmy Carter on the banknote because he's still alive. Only when they pass on their life, moving on to another world, then they can have their portrait on. So everybody on the portrait in the United States banknote must die first. Then they can be portrayed in the banknotes. Now, this banknote I didn't get just one. I got it for 9 pieces. Why? If you look carefully the banknote numbers, the bank numbers correlates every single looks like very sequential number. This is 8911. Everything at the front is the same, but the back, this is 1122. This is 1122, 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88, and 99. The how are I able to get such a number? When the dealer came with it, nobody was buying it. Each one banknote cost 5 ringgit. These were each 5 ringgit. It was very cheap. And I got he had a one bundle. No one has buy it, no one has touched it. So I took it and asked him 2 simple questions. How much is it? Can I select my own numbers? Both times he answered yes. That's a green light for me to get something like this. So eventually I got it there. And then I got it something like this. Cheap. I got it very cheap actually. $5 for each. So they are 9. 9 times 5, 45. 45. Yeah. And then the 2001, I got it for 50 ringgit. I think that one is the most expensive banknote in the serial collection I have. The rest were quite cheap. They are less than 20 ringgit. Vastly cheap. Some of them 5 ringgit, some of them 10 ringgit. Syria is in the conflict country, so that currency is also in the weak side. The last currency that I want to show is Israel. Most of those banknotes I acquire not just in Malaysia. Some of them I got it from overseas, from international before the Israel and Gaza conflict. Now we know that currently the custom will subject every import. They will need to check what are the items are. I don't feel comfortable getting any more Israeli currencies. Although I have ambitions in the future to collect them, at this moment of time, I will just put aside. Unless somebody is selling it already in Malaysia, in my country, my dealers, or the traders when they come in for the convention. We have a coin and banknote convention. Sure, I'll ask them come in and I will see what other bank they have, and probably I'll just purchase from there. But I'll never buy outside the country or get from an auction house or bid for it, because it will be under my own liability. And who knows what are the penalties are for importing a currency where a country we don't recognize. If you're going overseas, if I go overseas and buy and then coming back, okay, that's fine, because that is not subjected to tax while I cross the airport line, immigration and custom line. But being a custom or importing from mail or so forth or parcel, they will have to check every item that is in the box or in the parcels. So I now don't dare to buy any more Israeli banknote myself unless I go overseas. So okay, that was the condition problem I have for Israeli banknotes. These are all old shekel or new shekel. I'm not too sure, but knowing Israeli, after the founding of their country, they changed their currency quite number of times. Trial run, fail, and then succeed. Then fail again, and then succeed. They have changed their currency quite a number of times. Every time hits a hyperinflation, they change. I think they have changed 2 to 3 times of their currency system until it reaches today a new shekel. New shekel. So now I don't know how to pronounce that word. Of course, being it, they have Jewish words. I think this is called Yiddish or Yiddish or Hebrew. I'm not too sure. And of course, being surrounded by Arab countries, they too try to attempt to write in Arabic, so that people understand this is actually literally means Bank of Israel. And this is in Yiddish, Bank of Israel. In English, Bank of Israel. So this is 1 shekel, 50 shekel, 100. I think it's not shekel, if I'm not mistaken. This is much more older version. I don't think this is shekel, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, again, I'm not too sure. These were much more modern notes. After this class, they have the new shekel. And this is 1985, 5 new shekel. This is 20 new shekel. These two actually different. These two are different because this one has no circle. This one has a circle on it. Yeah, that's the variety they have. The rare one is actually this one. This is a common one. This is a rare one without the circle. But still an affordable price of 30 ringgit. Sorry, I got this for 10 euro. So this is 50 ringgit. I got this for 10 euro. And I got this for 4. If I'm not mistaken, I got this for 4 euro. I got this for 4 euro. This is for 10 euro. Israel represent. They're quite German. The newer type of banknote from Israel. This is a new one. This is much more current. I don't have space to put anymore. This is a newer version. If you go to Israel today, this is what you will hold and see. It's very simple. If you ask me, it's very simple design. Looks very feminine. If I'm not mistaken, this person is one of the first woman prime minister in Israel. Her name is Godin. If I'm not mistaken, her name is Godin. Yeah. Floral design. They are very, and then the color is quite. The color is quite a fade. I mean, it looks pretty much very poster-like design. It doesn't look really like a currency. It lacks a lot of security feature. It looks like very prone to counterfeit. That's the thing. The back looks more more modern, more banknote-like. There's security features, silver thread, intaglio design print, serial number, double watermark here to see, 100 shekel watermark here of her face, and 100 shekel and Bank of Israel. But beyond that, the modern new banknotes of Israel is very vastly simple design. It compared to the older ones, is much more complex in design. Yeah. So, and that's it from me for my archives for South Asia and the Middle East. This is all I have for this collection. The next one I would look through is Africa. There will be few things in Africa to design wise, but yeah, other than that, that is all I have for today. I have said more than I have. I would like to say thank you very much for enduring almost 1.5 hours of my talk and also reviewing some of my banknotes based on my opinion. Of course, if you like to comment, if you think that I say wrong or incorrect, you can tell me what it is and correct me if I'm wrong. Knowledge is sharing, is caring. Of course, opinions are my own personal opinions. It's not yours, not anyone's. It's my own personal opinion. I'm willing to hear anybody's opinions to subject to facts. I'm willing to listen. For those who just like to watch and get entertained, to see what are my banknotes or some of the banknotes you might not seen, or what I have or what I've acquired, do subscribe or like my video if you can. Anyway, whatever it is, all this is for my personal use, for my archive, for my future self, just in case if I forget anything, how much I bought or whatever, and to remind me that I have this collection in my possession in case something wrong or happen to me, and also to share to the world that what I have, and hopefully people enjoy what I have done or what I've achieved in my collection. And so that's all from me today. Thank you very much for listening to me for more than 1.5 hours. I want to wish again a happy Valentine's Day and also happy New Year. I mean, happy Chinese New Year. Okay, thank you and bye bye.